my name's Peshi. My pronouns are they, he, and I'm a fashion design student in New York City. Today I'm meeting up with my friend Sage, pronoun she, they, to try and look around Soho for some loungewear and athleisure stores and just see what options they have for all genders of people.
She's here.
Here are outfits to go out shopping. I am wearing a shirt that I thrifted at my Unique, a little tie that I made for a project last semester. My pants I got from the menswear section of L-Train Vintage, and my shoes are, I think, 1960s, I want to say, men's dress shoes.
And my top is from the sale rack at Forever 21. My pants I thrifted from Buffalo Exchange. And my shoes are special edition Dr. Martens that I got for a gift a few years ago.
These are fire.
No, I know, right?
And so we were off. First, we went to go catch the bus, and once we finally reached our stop in Soho, we headed over to stop at the Lacoste first. Take a look there. And so we went inside. We noticed a lot of solid colors and light colors, as well as stripes, but not many patterns, sticking mostly to the solids, as well as having logo embellishments. They also stocked some accessories such as hats, as well as a wall of bags, and some shoes and sneakers as well. We would see these things often paired in looks with different parts of their collection. We also saw this really cute exercise skirt that had some pleating in the back and elastic shorts built in. We also tried to compare some similar items from the women's and the menswear section. You can see a difference in price here, and we couldn't find two exactly identical items. We noticed some general differences in material choice as well as colors, which was true of most of their items. We found two extremely similar men's and women's shirts. The women's shirt was a tank with a zipper in the front, whereas the men's was a polo with sleeves. There were very few tank options actually when it came to the men's section. This was surprising to both of us actually. And so we left to go to our next stop, which just so happened was on the same block. The Nike store was really large and had their logo everywhere as well as screens. Inside, their current collection was centered around basketball and using the colors white, purple, and black. We also noticed that they tended to use a lot more muted colors. However, in one section upstairs, which appeared to be completely gender neutral, they had very bright colors and primary colors, whereas the rest of the clothing had men's or women's written on the tag. These just said unisex, or in terms of this tank, it said tomboy, and we thought that was kind of great. We also saw these more versatile shorts, which were styled on both men's and women's mannequins. However, the tag said men's, which we thought was odd considering the item was unisex. We then proceeded on our route and went to go visit my roommate at his workplace and maybe get some free drinks.
Hey Tegan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
We both got lavender lemonades. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, refreshed, we headed off to our next location, the Athleta. Upon going inside, we noticed that the store only really carried women's wear, and a lot of their pieces were inspired by yoga. We also noticed that they had some really interesting construction elements on their tank, such as breathable sports mesh panels and a sort of non-slip sticky finishing on the inside of the hem, which I imagine would avoid slippage. There was also some shaping built into the bust of the tanks, which we found was interesting, and the back was eraser back. And all of the tank had a lot of stretch, but was also pretty light, and there were a lot of sort of shaping lines on it, which I imagine would allow more muscle movement when wearing it. They had some t-shirts as well with this, and some of the same style of tank in some other patterns. Their newer arrivals had some more business casual pieces such as puffers and turtlenecks and trousers. We also saw this crop top, sort of bra style top that had a built-in underlayer with mesh and insertable and removable pads. We thought this would be something that could be easily customized to be for someone of a flat chest or a larger chest, and looked overall very comfortable. Our last store we went to was the Lululemon. I was excited to see they had both men's and women's clothing, and their current collection was more neutrals, yet they had some pastels from their older one. Despite featuring men's mannequins on the upper level, the men's clothing was actually only on the basement level. They only really carried darker and more muted tones in this section. We decided to compare these puffer jackets that were both in the men's and women's section. We noticed that the women's jacket was a lot longer and also had buttons instead of a zipper, whereas the men's had a zipper and a collar. They both had the same lining and same metallic finish, but were pretty different in prices, which was probably a result of the fact that the women's took more fabric to produce. Some other differences we noticed were that despite both pieces were oversized, the men's had wider shoulders, and also that both pieces had the same sort of finishings on them. The women's jacket actually had much shorter arms than the men's, which was odd considering the jacket was, again, quite oversized. Additionally, the men's had ribbing, whereas the women's did not. In terms of these two tops, the men's was a much more muted sort of purple, whereas the women's was a much more brighter and vibrant purple. Both had a little bit of shaping as well as some anti-sweat finishes on the fabrics. The men's was much more soft, whereas the women's was more elastic and had more stretch to it, as well as being much more fitted. With that, we left the store and went to get some dinner. The restaurant we went to was really good and one I'd been to before, and the food was much needed. And that was our day. Thanks for watching.